That tiny blue dot in the universe is especially remarkable. It contains the land masses and continents in which we live, as well as a lot of water. In all that water, there is an island with some hidden secrets. Bonaire is a Caribbean Sea island off the coast of Venezuela. The Caribbean Sea surrounding Bonaire homes approximately 350 species of fish, and the coral reef encompasses about 60 species of coral. Bonaire National Marine Park is an underwater sanctuary that surrounds the entire island. The park is the world's oldest marine reserve and was established with support from the World Wildlife Fund and managed by the STINAPA Foundation. The marine park is one of the world's most beautiful diving destinations. If you look closely, you will discover rare marine life hiding from predators. Other animals, through their appearance and behavior, have found other ways to survive. Tiny creatures live among corals and anemones for safety and often live in symbiosis. Large schools of smaller fish can huddle in a tightly packed spherical formation around a common center, forming a bait ball. Single fish are more likely to be eaten by predators than large groups. This instinctive behavior serves as a defense mechanism. Because of the presence of seagrass and mangroves, a shallow lagoon in the southeast of Bonaire is a one-of-a-kind area. With restricted access, a portion of the mangroves remains virtually undisturbed, making it a valuable resting area for birds and a nursery for many fish and other aquatic life. However, mangrove forests are under threat. The Mangrove Maniacs Foundation, a group of people united in their mission to preserve the mangroves for the future, looks after this particular area. Mangrove roots provide a safe haven for fish to grow before venturing out into the open sea. Many small fish emerge here, and they are thought to be the ultimate beginning of the food chain. The Mangrove Maniacs volunteers work in this area to open overgrown channels so that seawater can flow into the mangrove area with the tides. The channels must be opened by hand, which takes a while, making this a difficult job. but the result is increased biodiversity and improved water quality. Much of the vegetation in the mangrove areas surrounding areas have died. Replanting in these areas prevents erosion, which protects the mangrove area. The mangrove maniacs also take care of planting and water supply maintenance until the new plants thrive. The wildlife above water is rich in biodiversity with birds, lizards, iguanas. Washington Slagby National Park, which encompasses the entire northern region of Bonaire, is a protected nature reserve. The nature reserves are easily accessible by car and offer a memorable experience. There are over 1,000 wild donkeys on the island, and there is a sanctuary for any sick or injured donkeys. The island is adorned with ancient ruins from earlier times, while untouched nature takes its course in more remote areas. The Washington Slagby National Park is home to a variety of habitats, including the dunes near the Bocas on the north coast, the salinas, and the mountain areas. The island is home to dozens of caves carved with rock paintings or petroglyphs made by the native Indian inhabitants of Bonaire. At the beginning of the 19th century, Boca Slagby was the only port. Enslaved people were used to slaughter goats and transport them to Curaçao with goods like salt, aloe vera, pods, and charcoal. This was also the site of the largest plantations during the Dutch colonial era. The island is surrounded by coral reefs and is easily accessible by car or boat for any diver. With pleasant water temperatures and varied depths from shallow to deep, the reefs are easy to dive independently without a guide. coral structures are breathtaking and enchanted in shape. Most of them could be hundreds of years old. The frogfish is a master of disguise. It completely mimics its surroundings, lying motionless, so prey animals such as fish and shrimp don't even notice its presence. Using its rod and bait that it wears on its head, it can catch its prey. The smallest life on the reef also faces a struggle between life and death. Those who don't stand up for themselves will not survive. When one takes an afternoon nap, danger lurks for another in an environment where the day and night rhythm is the only certainty. Life on the reef is in balance, allowing the number of species to remain high. Fish arrive at the cleaning station to be cleaned of parasites or simply to be brushed. The reef is an enthralling environment. There are several shipwrecks in the water around Bonaire, but most are too deep to reach easily. The Hilma Hooker wreck is an exception. After the ship sank, various fish settled in and around it. Over the years, this wreck has been beautifully covered with corals and sponges. Like the sergeant majors, some fish use the deck as a breeding ground. While the salt pier is the perfect place to watch the sun shine through the overgrown pillars, sea turtles come to feed on seagrass and algae in the shallow sandy areas nearby. Sea Turtle Conservation Bonaire is a non-profit organization dedicated to the conservation of endangered sea turtles. In addition to rescuing injured turtles, sea turtles are frequently captured for a short time to monitor their health, growth, and provide them with a tag or satellite transmitter. The data from the transmitters provide valuable insight into the turtles' foraging and breeding habits. On the sandy beaches, turtle nests are traced and protected by monitoring patrols to protect the nest and allow the eggs to develop into young turtles. Still standing today are the slave huts dating from the mid-19th century. They serve as a reminder of the enslaved people who were oppressed under the Dutch colonial period that began on the island in the 17th century. Today, salt is still extracted from the salt pans of the Peckelmeer. In the colorful basins of the southwest, seawater evaporates naturally, leaving behind salt for extraction. Another colorful area is Bonaire's capital, Kralendijk, where buildings and murals are painted beautifully bright colors. With a tropical surprise here and there, this tourist attraction attracts visitors from far away. The other side of the island shows its rugged nature, where strong ocean winds generate spectacular shots of the coastline. When night falls, the sky opens up. Underwater roles are reversed. Corals display their tentacles to catch food from the seawater, and the active fish during the day now rest. Other animals emerge on the reef at night, actively seeking prey. They usually hunt in the dark, and their eyesight has adapted through their evolution. But under all their beauty, the reefs are sick and face a great threat. Due to climate change and pollution, coral reefs are dying. Some corals have diseases or suffer from coral bleaching. Large patches of suffocating cyanobacteria form along the reefs. And only the fossilized form of dead corals remain, eventually being overtaken by algae and seaweed. The entire reef around Bonaire has been impacted and the situation is dire. The question is, will they ever recover? Reef Renewal Foundation Bonaire is doing everything it can to restore the reef. Coral nurseries can be found all over the island where coral fragments grow in coral trees before being planted on the reef. This method has already resulted in the production of over 15,000 corals. The coral trees' maintenance is done in collaboration with several local diving schools. Any diver can contribute by taking a short course and helping maintain a part of the coral nurseries. Beyond the corals is a local diving school actively committed to the Reef Renewal Foundation. Climate change has begun and is unstoppable. Perhaps it's time we, the most intelligent life form on Earth, start asking ourselves what we are doing.